So let me start with loved ones. So this was a picture that I did of a little girl who was 6 years old. Her parents came to see me from Portugal, and her grandmother came through holding her hand, and I did this picture of her, and they gave me the photograph afterwards. So I literally draw without seeing, and then I get the validation afterwards from the loved ones who bring me a picture and say, yeah. And there was information, you know, she gave a lot of information about her friends names, what she did, ballet, a soft toy that she had, key things that her parents would be able to recognise, which is lovely. So although it's not an absolute photographic likeness, you can't get that. What you can get is something that's reasonable, you can see who it is. But after this coaching with Manuel Schrosch, like I was saying, it's quite extraordinary how, you know, if you get in the way, it actually changes the image, and it's better if you just work quickly and work without thought, empty mind. Definitely the best way. And the other thing that I've noticed is sorry, Sue, is that whenever people come, they seem to show a mirror image of themselves, and it fascinated me. And people kept coming to me and saying, you draw them reverse of the way, you know, you're always drawing a mirror image. And I suddenly got it. Leonardo da Vinci gave it to me, of course, because he did mirror writing, didn't he? He said, well, we look at ourselves in a mirror, that's how we remember ourselves. We don't see ourselves the way other people see us. Oh, gotcha. It's true though, isn't it? So that's why that happened.
My question was going to be, how long did it take you to draw that? Because the detail is incredible.
It took probably 8 or 9 minutes.
Okay. Interesting.
That's somebody's mum, and I did that through they sent an email to me and asked me for somebody for them in spirit. So that's the older lady, but that's obviously her showing her as she was young. The hair is more like this one, but the angle of the face is kind of more similar to that one. But that was her mum. This was somebody's dad that came to see me. I was quite pleased with that one when I saw it, actually. Oh no, this was a really interesting one. This was someone's brother, and I started off drawing the picture of the brother, and all of a sudden her dad jumped in and obliterated the picture of the brother, drew himself on top, and he wasn't having any of it, so the dad came straight in. And then when I hung the phone down, I felt so bad. And all of a sudden, within like 30 seconds, the brother came through as well. So I sent them both to her after we'd hung up on Skype. So she got 2 pictures, this one and her dad, and then she sent me this picture of her brother, which I thought was quite good. Even the hair's pretty good. Oh, this was sad. This had me in tears. I always get in tears when there's children involved. This man left 2 baby girls. It was one of my Greek connections, and his wife came to see me. He'd left her baby at 6 months and the baby at 18 months.
Looks like Abraham.
Lovely man. Abraham. Lovely, lovely man. This was somebody's mother. Quite pleased with that one as well. So she came through with the very, very short hair. Gave lots of information to her daughter, who was very, very pleased. But obviously that information is personal, so I don't share that, although I've got permission to share the picture. This was done a long time ago, quite early on in my development. This is a lady who lost her daughter in a bicycle accident. But she works as a spirit guide now with her mum, which is really, really nice. And in fact, the very first picture of the little girl, she actually works as a spirit guide with her parents, and the first time they came to see me, she told them that there was a little brother in spirit with her, and the baby was going to come. They didn't have a baby then, but the last time they came to see me, they had the baby, so that was rather nice. Oh, this was a really weird one, because I don't normally do pictures of people that know what they look like. But somebody asked me to do this. He was channeling a book by Diana that he was actually writing through channels, and he asked me if I could just channel a picture to do on the book cover. And I did one picture for her, which I actually preferred, but he didn't like it because it was more of an impersonal. It was more of a casual picture, and he wanted her decked in the crown and everything. So then So I didn't feel this one. I didn't actually feel her energy. I felt like it was somebody else that was bringing that drawing through. So I wasn't best pleased with it, but hey, it's there, so I bought it. This, I haven't done this ready for my website yet, which is the, all cut out and everything. So this is all I get. I get the picture and they give me a little photograph that they've maybe brought with them afterwards. So this was a guy that came through for his mum. He'd been killed on a motorcycle accident about 3 weeks before, I think. And oh, it was so sad. So many young men in Greece get killed on motorcycles. Oh, this was an interesting one. When I was in Hawaii last year, I was staying with medium, the psychic actually, not medium, she was a psychic. And this was her teacher, and he came through, and he was quite a famous medium apparently, and he'd also been to Japan, where I'd just come from when I went to Hawaii, so he was talking to me a lot about his experience in Japan and my experience in Japan. It was really interesting. So that, I can't remember his name now, but anyway, he was for medium there in Hawaii.
Question. Do usually the spirits come through you first, or people that are interested into the spirits, or how does that work?
I normally draw spirits for clients that come to me.
Okay, but have you had an experience that there was a specific spirit that afterwards gave you an information to be, so that you were able to contact a living person?
It's happened to me on radio a couple of times, where actually, and on television, on Greek TV in particular, I had a whole panel of judges watching at what I was doing and evaluating what I was doing. It was hilarious, because every time they said something, then the next drawing proved that that wasn't what they were saying. Like one of them said, oh, it was telepathy. So I was in telepathy contact with everybody in the audience. So every time I drew a picture that somebody in the audience could take, they were saying it was telepathy. So the next one I said, okay, prove it. And they brought somebody through. I said, this is for somebody who's not in the studio. This person is watching on the screen. So whoever you are, call in the break. But before I had time to do that, this woman came running in from off camera, from out back. She said, that's for me! And it was a bit like that. So that was really, really fun. And then one I did, I said, and they said, oh, well, then you're still reading people's minds. I don't know how it works, but I don't think I'm reading people's minds. And there was a young guy in the audience, and they said, well, it's all very well, but you must be reading in their subconscious, even if they're watching in. So I said, okay, I'm going to go to that young man now. This is for you, and you don't know her. I said, but your mum knows her, and in the break, your phone. And he was going, I don't know, and it was all there on camera. I don't know, and I go, and in the break, his mother phoned, that's my mother, bring it home! and all the panel were going, and they didn't really know what to say at the end of it all. So yes, that's happened as well. But I was on form that night. This is another guy in a road accident. His sisters came in. It was hilarious. It was the fun. Sometimes I get tears and all that emotion, but sometimes it's just we cry laughing. He came through. He was a real comedian, and his two sisters came in, two Greek women, and they were all dressed in black, as Greek women do when they lose somebody. And they went out, and one of them had to go to the toilet halfway through. She was laughing so much. He was just making them laugh and tell it, why are you dressed in black? And it was so funny. The things that he was saying were really, really funny. So that was nice. That I did in Cyprus to someone who totally disbelieved. It was somebody I was actually staying with, and he was a non-believer, but his girlfriend believed. And she said, can you do a session for him? I said, yeah, sure. And in the end, he brought out, that's the only picture of his mum that he had. It was on a some kind of document that they had, as you can see. And that's who it was. He was like, oh my God. So we had a believer from a non-believer, which is always a nice thing. And a dog. This is a funny story. This was an author friend of mine, and she'd emailed me, and she just said, has anybody come through for me? And I drew this puppy, and I said, the message is, I'm a puppy again now. And she was telling me that she'd got this old dog, and it was a lab Alsatian cross, and it broke her heart when it died. It was an old dog, and she had to get it to sleep because it had cancer, and it had breast cancer. I didn't know you could get breast cancer in dogs, but there you go. And it had to have one of its nipples removed as part of trying to save its life over the years. And then it was put to sleep, and she swore that she would never have another dog. And anyway, this woman said, oh, I've got this lovely puppy and it needs a home and blah blah. Anyway, she went to see it, and it rolled over on its belly, and the nipple that her old dog had removed was missing. The same nipple was missing. And she was like, oh my God, maybe I need to have this dog. So she took the dog home, and the same night I emailed her this, I'm a puppy again, with that image. So that was her proof that this was her dog reincarnated. Which was quite interesting. Now then, this was a really funny one. I did this drawing in 1994 on the French Alps. I took my pen and paper up, I skied up, took my drawing stuff with me. So I felt the energy of, because I was still in training here, I started in 91, and so I was 3 years in my training, and I just wanted to draw on the mountain. And I brought this amazing being, and I knew it was for my teacher, my psychic development teacher, Mary. And when I brought it to her, she went, oh, that's a bit spooky. I said, I think it's your higher self, but I'm not really sure. But now, with the work that I'm doing, I realise it was actually her future self. And some of the stuff that I was able to tell her back then about what was going to happen was extraordinary, including her being the president of the SHUB, and that actually did happen at one point. So it was amazing. Whoops! This is Sarah Tyler Walter's Spirit Guide Chan. I don't know if you, because she works here, so I don't know if you've ever heard him speak, but we used to do combined classes once a term. Her students and my students would get together, and mine would draw and hers would go into trance. And on one occasion, I actually brought him through, I actually drew him for her as he was talking. So that was him. He's very cute. She's happy. This was a Bollywood superstar come through for somebody to help her to become more feminine, which a lot of women need help with at the moment, because we've all kind of gone a bit masculine. She was saying we need to be feminine and allow the energy and not try too hard. So that was quite an interesting spirit guide. He was rather nice. He was an alchemist, and he'd come to talk about alchemy using art as well. It was a really interesting session. I liked him a lot, and so I included him.